Can't get comfortable.
I can't get comfortable with you. Here we go. You ready, Keith?
Sorry, it must be in the future. It is in the future. Oh,
Just don't worry about it, Keith.
Whatever.
Hey, a cup holder. Ooh, I can put it right here. Right on my computer. So then when it spills, it ruins everything.
You know what? You keep saying you need to get a new computer, and now you're putting a beer in your computer.
It's not intentional.
It was an accident.
Guess I got to buy one. Anyway. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast viewing games for the Game Pass collection. Bring you 3 new perspectives of varying skill range. I am the main character of this episode, Andrew. With me, the person I wish was personally someone else.
What? That's not even
I used my
close
joke early. But
yeah,
anyway,
that wasn't even close to what we were talking about. But okay, hi, I'm here.
I have a very short memory, Keith. Okay.
You threw me off.
And then with us, the romantic interest, Liz.
Hey guys.
This week, this is dedicated to our Discord because we've had numerous people on our Discord talk about this game and wanted us to play it. So we're like, all right, we're finally going to check it out. And that is Persona 3 Reloaded. Persona 3 is a JRPG where you are playing a high school student who goes to a new dorm, a new school, and you find out that there is this evil hour going on called the Dark Hour. It's the hour right before midnight that stops time, and these evil shadows come out and start preying on the citizens. But you found out that you can summon these things called personas and fight back the shadows and save humanity, or at least the district. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to go first for this one. So Persona 3. I am going to give this a game. I had a lot of fun with it. I cannot recommend this game for everyone because one thing I do like about this, it's a JRPG. It's a turn-based JRPG. If you've played turn-based JRPGs, you kind of know what you're getting into. But majority of turn-based RPGs are always like, you're in fantasy world East Bumscrew and you're trying to save it. There's an evil guy who's collecting stones and wants to rule the world. This is a completely kind of different story of like it's more based on a life simulation and maintaining relationships and hanging out with friends and growing your character that way through, character interactions. So it's like a smaller scale JRPG, and I had a lot of fun with it, but this game can be very tedious, very tedious. You're kind of visiting 5 areas over and over again. The dungeon you're going to is kind of repetitive, but I still had a lot of fun with it. I thought the characters were great, and I enjoyed what was going on. But yeah, so I'll give it a game. Come on, Keith. Here we go. Look at that face. He's ready to go.
I think I'm going to give it a pass.
Oh.
I've
full of energy.
It's just not for me. I just could not get myself invested at all into, I think, really learning about the characters, because the combat I did start to enjoy. I was kind of having some fun with that and the way that worked, but it's so focused on all the dialogue and all of these individual characters and all the time spent and all of that. I just was like, no,
which is so surprising from a JRPG.
I know, and I get that. And I think it's pretty well known that it's normally not my genre. So like, what Sea of Stars I think was one of the that I can really say I enjoyed, at least recently, and all that. But it's gonna be one of those, yeah. And like I'll sit back and go, yeah, that was a cool thing about it. I did think that was neat. I liked that too. But if somebody's asking me to recommend a game, this isn't gonna pop up on my list unless they're like, hey, do you know a good JRPG to play? There we go. Now I have an option for you. But otherwise, no. It's gonna be a pass for me.
It's a game for me. I really liked it. I mean, I also love that Andrew, whenever we play a game, he knows what character I'm going to love. And in this one, yeah. I was afraid I'm going to pronounce the names wrong, but Junpei?
Yep.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Favorite.
What? No. he You're joking.
Well, maybe not my
No?
least favorite of the people I interact with. No, I didn't spend probably double-digit hours in the gameplay overall. But anyways, I cut you off. We'll get to that.
I like games like this. I mean, I love RPGs. I love games that are story based, character based. Does get a little repetitive. My biggest complaint was I wanted to be able to do more in a day because there were so many different things that I wanted to do that you can use to help your character. Get more charm, get more courage. And then there's fun stuff I wanted to do, like checking out the stores and shopping. Stop it.
No, you too well.
But yeah, definitely a game for me.
Man,
Well,
there's
say too,
so much to talk about.
you
in this
like
game.
games with relationship building and all that, like Stardew Valley. I think of
Mhm.
that's when you like having
Coral Island.
all these different little relationship building with characters. I don't tend to care about that. Like I just get me to the gameplay, and I'll strengthen my bonds with their higher attacks.
See, it's even when reading, there's this one book that I have tried to read multiple times, but I hate every character. Like, there's nothing redeeming so far about any of
Is
them.
it East of Eden?
Yes. I thought I was gonna love that book. I really did, and I actually haven't tried to read it in a couple of years, but I always think about that book when it comes to like not liking characters. There's gonna be somebody that you're rooting for, or like if the story has to be like very interesting. And yeah, that's that one book that maybe I should try it again.
I feel like every time you like get halfway and you're like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it.
Yep.
It's like just quit. Oh man. All right. There is so much to talk about with this game. This I think it'd be an interesting episode. So the story. We're gonna start off with this. As I said, the overall premise of the story, you were playing this really blank slate of a character. I'm 26 hours in this game, and the only thing I know about this character is that your parents are dead. That is it. That is like all I really know about your character. And that
I didn't know that.
you're a second year student. Yeah, they say it at the very beginning, but it's super quick.
Oh, okay.
At first, they don't fully confirm it. They're like, "Oh, your parents. Sorry." And like that's it. That's kind of the dialogue. But later on, and so I assumed it's like I'm assuming your parents are dead. And then eventually, they did kind of straight up say like, "Yeah, your parents are dead." It's like okay, but like I'm 26 hours in. That's all I know about my character. And what's kind of annoying about the character too is, you create a person's name, but there's no other customization of the character. So you can't choose the gender, you can't choose how they look, whatever. So it's kind of weird where it's like, oh, I feel like this game's trying to be like, oh, this is your character, who you are, who you want to be as, who you play, because there are dialogue choices. But the dialogue choices, you just want to pick what other people want to hear, because if you don't, you get punished for it. So I'm like, I don't really feel like I have a choice in the dialogue. But anyway, the story is, like I said, there's these shadows that are appearing. This giant tower appears during the dark hour in the middle of your school called the Tartarus, and you have to climb this tower and try to unravel the mysteries, why these shadows are appearing, why are they preying on humans. And then every full moon, a boss comes out. So you're kind of racing against the clock to being prepared, make sure your character's leveled up, geared up, because there's a boss coming. So you have these moments of like trying to level up and get ready for it. But the most wild thing about this game, I want to know who thought of this. So in Persona 3, you summon your persona. Personas are these characters that live within your mind. They're supposed to be a reflection of the character, and you summon it and it helps fight the monsters in the battle. But your character has the special ability of switching to different personas. While everyone else only has one persona, you can have multiple and you can switch them. But the way you summon these personas is by getting a gun and shooting yourself in the head.
I like that the intro is so like when you first turn on the game, there's that like long cutscene.
Yeah, it's like an anime intro scene. Yeah.
Yeah, you were watching me watch it, and I was like, I'm really kind of getting sick of watching people like blow their heads off. And then you're like, get used to it. And I was like, you joking? You see this like the entire game? And he's like, yep.
Like who I'm curious, like in the boardroom, I'm just like, all right, guys, we're gonna have these creatures that you summon. And some guy, I swear, must have been taking some sort of drugs, was like, what if like people like shot themselves in the head and like
no wonder why Yukari was like nervous about it.
Yeah, and not only that, they don't explain these guns. They luckily after about the 20-hour mark, they explained that there's no bullets in it. Okay, so I'm like, all right, so some of these things some other magical way, but you have cartridges, but They don't explain how these guns work. What's the purpose of it? And your character is about to be attacked, and a gun drops to your feet, and his first instinct is, I'm gonna pick up this gun and shoot myself in the head. It's like, who thought of this? Besides that, it's just weird.
So that's no, like, I can't say the whole game because I have not touched anywhere near the whole game. And I will say that. But despite having this like kind of in-depth dialogue and relationship, character building, and all of these things, there is just some really, really weird writing moments. Like and to what you're saying, like they do write it in a way that I get it. He looks over and his partner there, she's about to, pull the trigger with it, but I don't know. It's just a bizarre setting. Like there's got to be a more reasonable, at the very least, like if you're going to try to make it some big artsy reason why you're doing this, make sure you start to explain that. As much as I still don't care, because my other issue with it, and I don't want to, I'm not trying to like get into gameplay, but the fact that it's every single time you use a move, holy crap, it's way too much. And that is, it's just, it was a gripe of mine. I was like, this is just too much, and I was really getting sick of it.
Real quick, I guess before we progress, for people who don't know, Keith, I'm assuming you've never played a Persona game before.
I have not.
Okay, neither have I, and Liz, obviously, you have not played a
Correct.
Persona game. So we are also coming into this episode, never experienced any Persona games. So that was the first question I asked our Discord is, do I need to play any of the other Persona games? They said no. They're all kind of a standalone game. In the other Persona games, they are summoned different ways. But for whatever reason, in this one, they thought a gun shooting yourself on the head was a way to summon Personas. Weird. Okay, so for me, I got like, at first I was the same way. Like seeing, I'm like, this is kind of cringy. Like them just shooting themselves in the head repeatedly. But after a while, I phased it out. Like to me, like the animations are really repetitive. So like I just never noticed it much anymore. But it's just a weird thing. Like you said, I didn't quite get the messaging at first. So this game first gives you a warning of like, hey, there's a lot of cases of violence, suicide, and bullying in this game. Like, you may want to pace yourself. And so like, that's what I was thinking this whole game is about, of like, oh, is this meant to be like, don't commit suicide? This is all about, you need to be strong, like a way to cope kind of thing. It's like, I thought the messaging of this game was going to be like, this isn't the way you're supposed to do it, blah, blah, blah. But like, I never felt like I was getting that message. It was just a thing you're doing and they don't explain it. And it's just like, okay, so I guess that's just what we do.
Yeah, and I kind of off topic, but I was also thinking back to what you said about like the dialogue choices and stuff. But I was thinking it was interesting that you don't really. I felt like this game you would kind of be able to pick if you were going to go more good or go more evil.
Yeah.
And so that's hearing what you're saying. That's what I was kind of like thinking about. But it's also all.
Well, I think you kind of can. Not to get ahead, but there is an achievement I revealed, and it said get the good ending.
Well, but I mean, when it comes to like the dialogue choices, though, you're also trying to do these like social links so that you can, because you combine your personas to make like even better ones.
Yeah, which is a pretty cool feature.
Yeah, if you have the correct social links, then it can kind of like buff up that new persona.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So for me, it just like I kind of wish that there was that aspect to it.
Yeah. But man, this story though. And it's just, I loved the characters. I'm with you, Liz. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed this relationship building that's going on. So the overall story for me is just, it wasn't feeding enough for me to care about the overall story. But like I said, majority of this game is mostly about like social building and, having friends and going on dates with them and, building a stronger bond between them. And I enjoyed the characters. I thought that was a fun element to it. But it is at least nice of a change of pace that, like I said, it's not like a typical JRPG of, here's a big bad guy. He's trying to collect some sort of object to be super powerful and end the world. And you're trying to stop him. And you're going on this big grand adventure, exploring this massive land. This is so much more confined and just focused that it's an easier kind of like JRPG to play, because that is like one thing that's difficult, where it's just like, oh man, like here I go traveling through this wasteland again, and you're going through a whole nother area, and like some of those can be kind of a slog, but this is all super quick, like fast traveling, like very little like exploring, which can turn people off, but I liked the design of it. But yeah,
like the school, you don't really have to, worry about where you're going, kind of thing.
But yeah, overall, I like the character building. So why didn't you like any of the characters, Keith?
I found them annoying because now I go back to, I don't have a wide breadth of characters I interacted with. I have like small handful, basically like the base characters. I think what is it, the ramen kid, or as I'm gonna call him, but he wanted to like I have no idea. He wanted to ask out a teacher.
Oh yeah, that's a weird storyline.
And just that's the whole, like, it's another weird thing. It's like a high school simulator, but it's just uncomfortably sexual. It seems like everybody is just like, oh hey, you're talking to a girl, you're a guy, and you're a girl, and they're a girl. So that, like, oh my goodness, like it's like a romance sim, and I don't care for that level of dealing with characters. I don't want to formulate and cultivate relationships with weird computer characters. It's just not a thing I do. And so these types of games don't do much for me. It's a personal thing. I'm not trying to insult anybody. I'm just saying it's what I don't care for.
I do wish that there was more backstory with the characters. I think that actually would have made me like them even more.
The main characters or all the characters?
The main characters, but also the side characters. I mean, you kind of learn a bit with how you pronounce his name, Miyamoto. Like as that you like you're getting to know like him a bit more.
Yeah.
As the story progresses and stuff. But I just feel like I wanted more with the characters, especially like when you're joining clubs and stuff. And this is what I was just saying at the beginning with like wanting to do more in a day, where you just like go to the club, like for instance, say you're going to track, but nothing really happens. You don't really like chat with them too much.
Yeah,
it's very much the thing I noticed that bothered me was like, and I'm glad it just continues this way, is it would just be like, all right, here's a thing you can do. Choose one of these three things. Here's 1 or 2 actions to choose. Here's a quick little cutscene of doing that, and now, oh hey, it's nighttime, and then go choose within these 5 selections. And everyone's always yelling at you to go to bed. Leave me alone. I'll go to bed when I want to. But it's at the same time, it's just one little sequence of like, all right, run and pick one of these 3 things. Run and pick one of these things, or you go to the dungeon, and then you spend a while in the dungeon, and then that's kind of, you go back to the just step. And I wanted to be able to like do it because I think it makes sense that, it's when you do, like, you go to the arcade, it plays the game for you. You don't play the game, but it's also a fun aspect where there's a fun mini game I could be playing and I'm not doing it. I'm just watching him do something. So it just gives you a set skill number or whatever. But I agree with that and then some.
See, I agree with you about playing a mini game, but I also don't. Because I also don't want to be replaying a mini game that's awful over and over again. One thing I wished more of, like, in
Rad
school,
Skateboarder.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, actually, that's what I was
saying. Wait, but I thought, because so I didn't play any of the arcade games, but
well, you don't play any of them.
No, sorry. I assume that there were some because a guy says, "Oh, you can play this and this today."
Yeah.
So I assumed that it kind of rotated, like based on the day, like what games they had.
Yep. So
that's kind of disappointing that they you don't actually get to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just watch your character play. That was why I went there first. I was like, oh, neat. I'm going to go play this little like mini arcade game in the game. And then I just watched him sit there. It's like, you earned 1 point for that. Now go to nighttime.
Yeah, the thing I was kind of disappointed is school. So every once in a while in school, a teacher, you'll be in a lesson and you have different options that'll happen. Sometimes the teacher will ask a question, which are kind of like, if you paid attention to what the teacher was saying, you can answer the question. But some are completely out of left field, where they're just like, what does this word mean? And it's just like, good thing I have Google.
Oh yeah, I actually had to look. One was like a diagram. Which one is not a blah blah?
Yeah,
and I'm like, excuse me. It's been a long time since I've been in school.
But I was really hoping that it did mini games with school. Did you ever play Bully, Keith, from Rockstar?
I remember it, but I never played it.
So that's what I was more hoping from when you played Bully. Like every once, like you had classes, but it would be like, oh, you have English today and math today. When you went to English, it had a specific mini game, and you could do poorly or you could do well. And if you're doing well, your grade is going up, and you get more rewards for doing well in the class. And that's what it's kind of hoping this school would do. Like whenever you did classes, to have kind of that sort of mini game that Bully had, because it was actually a lot of fun, and it made it rewarding to make sure you're going to school, make sure you're kind of working on the grades, and because the rewards were like accumulative of like getting better because your grades were getting higher. And this, it's just like, oh, if you got the question right, you get 1 point to your academics. Like the reward was so small, and it's just like, So I didn't care if I got the question wrong because it was just like it didn't level you up that much, and I wanted more from the schooling.
It's also weird thinking about how long it's been since, I was in high school. I will say a couple months ago, I had a dream. I was back in my old high school. I was like, I really need to graduate. I'm getting too old for this.
I'm in my 30s. I need to get out of here.
Yeah, I woke up and I was like, what is wrong with me?
That's great.
Can we also talk about too? Like when at the beginning of the game, I thought it was so inappropriate that they have a camera in a teenage boy's bedroom.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
they don't mention
that was an okay idea. Like for me, it's just like I would rather someone like just open the door a little bit when I was sleeping and looked in than have a camera in there. Can you imagine?
I do think it's funny that you join the organization and see this, but they never mention. You never like, is that a camera in my room?
Yeah.
They never
Carry
mention.
on. I don't know. There's living shadows out there. I guess some things you just don't ask questions about anymore. If anything, the fact that she's like, hey, here's a sword. Let's go. And you're just like, okay.
I do think that's funny too. I'm just like, yeah, before the first fight, she's like, oh, you might want to take this, a full-fledged sword.
This is like a weird Tuesday night, but okay.
And that's what I think is funny is like when you first see that girl, she gets the gun and points at her head but gets knocked away. I instantly would assumed of, oh man, this girl's just trying to end herself. Like she doesn't want to deal with this monster. But then your next thought is, I'm gonna pick this gun up and do the exact same thing and shoot myself in the head.
What about when I'm actually confused. So at the beginning, he's walking around and he's seeing all those like the coffins and stuff.
It doesn't question. Yeah, pools of blood everywhere, and he's just like, oh, this is so typical for this district.
But there was a class in school where they were talking about magic. So is magic in this world real? And that's why he was just like, oh, someone magically put coffins there.
No, the teacher explains that he doesn't quite always mean magic, and that he's more using it as like a loose phrase. I don't know. It's weird. Some of the stuff you learn in the classes and the things they say is just kind of like, this is so weird. You have the one teacher who's super obsessed with one specific era of like feudal Japan.
Oh, yeah.
All of the teachers, well, at least two of the teachers I can think of, just all they did was complain about teaching the subject that they had to teach because they wanted to teach something else. It was, I think, the English teacher and the history teacher, where he wanted to teach feudal samurai Japan.
Yep.
And she wanted to teach like a certain era of poetry or something. And was always mad about it. Saying no. I had a thought about it. I forgot.
There were some side stories. Like I kept putting it off. But I wanted to find out more about the older couple in the bookstore. Oh, so there were people. Is that a sad one?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. No, I don't want to. See, you know what? Games like this, you know that there's going to be some hidden.
There's one I really want to know more about. You probably haven't met it. I mean, you're the closest to my playtime, Liz. But the Gourmet King, he's like this chubby kid who you need to have like level 3 charm in order to talk to. But you find out his story is kind of all over the place. He's part of like a cult, but his brother, I think, was part of the cult, but his brother died. But also he keeps talking like his brother's alive. It's really mysterious, but it's actually really cool. I do like the side stories.
Also, I mean, I feel like until you meet somebody that is, like you, that isn't affected by it, by the dark hour, I would think I was crazy. Yeah. I wouldn't tell anybody about it. And then also the little boy at the beginning that he doesn't, and he doesn't really tell anybody. It's like, it's kind of important.
I know.
See, with the Velvet Room, it's like, no, you should probably say something.
That's what I think is weird too. Yeah, I had my character say that. He goes, "Oh, what about that contract I signed?" They all were like, "What contract?" And your character just goes, "Okay," and just doesn't say anything. I'd be like, "There was a little boy who just made me sign a contract. What did I just sign?" No, your character never
Also,
brings it up.
that little boy was so creepy. I would have read that contract. I would
Me
think that
too.
was like a little like demon spawn or
He's
something.
teleporting in front of you. It's
Yeah, and you don't read the contract.
your character's
Well, I
just
think
like, "All right,
basically all it
whatever."
said was just like you're responsible for your own actions or something.
There's
But
definitely more to that contract if you have like a floating
mean,
boy in front of you.
And it's like the middle of the night. Like, what is he even doing up?
You just saw a bunch of coffins
I
and
don't-
blood everywhere, and you're just like, "Yeah, I'll sign this paper."
listen,
was he
you
wearing
just
jail
you got
clothes?
off a
It
long
looks like it.
train or something. You're
What-
tired.
Which would you guys name your
Never mind.
character?
And well, D's nuts, obviously.
I don't know why the first thing that came into my mind was Peter Cottontail.
See, I figured if I'm going full blown fantasy, I got to name my character Penis Long.
There you go.
It's great.
Some of the phrasing is really spectacular.
Oh
with
my
that.
gosh, I just like my mature self here. I'm just constantly giggling when your character gets knocked down and says penis can't get up. I'm like, oh man, I know that feeling, Gabe. No, it's just there's so many times it's writing the character's name and it's just, I forgot that's my character's name. And I'm like, whoa, this came here. That's like, oh wait, that's right. I changed my character's name to that. Oh,
We are no longer a PG podcast.
oh, please.
I just it's things like just the way your character is treated that I think put me off of the dialogue so much is your character is that dead inside. You don't say anything.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
well, no, your character does have at least written dialogue, I think, from time to time.
And every once in a while he has a voice line, but it's like a one word voice line.
I contest that it happens in the Discord claims because I found plenty of times where they're just like, all right then, and it would just be this whole paragraph of text of things that they just don't say. I'm like, well, why would this cutting and choosing when you're gonna actually have full dialogue? Like for the most part it is full dialogue, but there's just a lot of times where I found it was just half text and half dialogue, and I don't. It mostly was when you were interacting with just your character. Like if they were interacting with groups of characters, that's when there was full dialogue. But if it was just you and somebody else, it was just a dead conversation, and it didn't feel like it was ever meaningful.
But I love that with the character Junpei.
Yep.
I always look to you like, did I say it right? I loved his enthusiasm. He was like, we get a chance to save the world. This is awesome. Like, let me kill all the enemies. Like, he's so gun-ho and excited
He's
about
always the first dead in a horror movie
I
because
know,
he's
but
the
Not
oh,
in
this
anime,
is
though.
awesome, guys, and he's the clown. Absolutely, he's the one who runs out with a baseball bat. I've got it. Dead.
But he's the
By
real
Junpei.
hero. I mean, the main character, he has all these advantages, and like I don't know, I think that he's the unsung hero, and everyone always kind of like makes fun of him, kind of,
I
and
mean,
it's like he's really like if you get rid of him, I mean, I feel like the game would be so much more bland.
yeah.
It's the same
Well,
with
he-
Alan Wake. That character, I
Barry.
forget his name. Barry. You get rid of Barry. What is Alan Wake?
I'm
you
pretty sure I
know?
couldn't stand Barry either.
Oh my
I
gosh.
recall. Yeah, he's.
You
he's
just don't like
nothing-
funny
nothing-
men.
Well, yeah, that's a real big niche of people who are.
That's why Keith doesn't
We
like
will
me.
go into that. That's a weird conversation. But no, I just think it has more to do with like I don't know. Maybe again, I'm confusing what this game is as a life simulator versus an RPG versus other things, and I just think that it's an overall seems like a very serious overtone, and then he's just this constant clown of a character, and he just comes off as annoying to me.
He does get complex. Moment I'm at,
Okay.
he kind of brings some things up, and it's like, okay, it's kind of sad.
See, I feel like I'm like thinking about all my friends. They're pretty like high energy, like let's get it kind of thing. And I feel like I surround myself with that because I'm not that.
Why were you into me?
And so
Thanks, Liz.
And so like I feel like I really like characters like that. I think that's why I like him so much because it's like, I mean, I don't think any of the characters are like, woe is me, but that for like a long game can get a little tiring,
Yeah.
which sounds terrible to say, but it's also like you're saving the world. It's
I mean, I'd be hypocritical, I guess, if I disagreed with that fully, because I think that was one of my complaints about, well, Remnant, and then what was the last one we played that I was. Either way, the character constantly just walking around grunting and moaning and complaining about how everything is awful. Like, yeah, no kidding. The end of the freaking world. Of course, everything's terrible. Get over it. So to that point, yes. If everyone's constantly dark and brooding, it would be just as bad. But yeah, he just annoyed me.
because is it Mitsuru who is like she's head of student council and
Yep.
stuff, and she's got like a lot of weight on her shoulders.
Yep.
But she never complains about it. She's just like, let's just do this. And I also like they had this weird dynamic with her and the other girl, where the other girl was like kind of like unsure about her. And so I was wondering if
We
later
find out why.
I was wondering if later in the game something came out about why she was feeling like almost like she didn't trust her.
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't want to spoil it for the podcast,
Well,
but her family is a rich corporation, and
Which
there
I
was
knew
an
that.
accident that
Ooh.
might have caused harm to her family.
Ooh.
I can explain more
I
after.
suspected there was that. I figured it was that, or you're going to find out like they caused this whole thing, and like she's trying to vindicate her family or something.
Yeah, more or
And
less.
do you get to fight with the injured guy, or is he injured the entire game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I also, so this is going to sound really bad, but I feel like I was instantly mistrustful of the school director, the Suji.
The chairman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the way that it's
Because his pun jokes.
nope.
There.
I feel like there is
Glasses.
I have seen actors that look just like him, and they're always bad guys in movies.
Turtleneck.
There's something about like the
Those
usually
evil
it's a
turtlenecks.
teacher,
Oh.
not a school director or whatever he is, but they're not good guys. And so like I instantly saw him and I was like, is he on both teams? Like I instantly, do you know something?
No, not yet. But I honestly I have the same thoughts too. I'm like, this guy's probably the bad guy. Especially too that they're trying to make him so lighthearted with constantly making cheesy pun jokes. I'm like, this guy's probably the bad.
I want to Google it because yeah, there's something about like instantly looking at him, like all my alarm bells went off.
You're gonna Google it? You mean you're not gonna put in 64 hours in this game in order to beat it and find out? Yeah, so anyway, the time to beat this game is very long.
I mean, I like the
64
game,
hours.
but
I mean it's a typical JRPG. But real quick though, yeah, as I said, 64 hours to beat the game. But the one thing that's so good about this game, it's really good to start and stop this game. It's on xCloud and it's touch controls on xCloud because it's very simple. But this game I found to be very easy to really kind of pick up and play. Like 90% of the time, you can just save wherever you are. If you're mid battle, that's the only time you kind of can't save. You can kind of lose some progress. But I loved how easy this game was to pick up and play.
I kind of wish that I knew a better way to play though. So and what I mean, like, so they do have great tutorials. Like I felt like I
There's a
understood
lot of
what was going
mechanics in
on.
this game.
But for instance, like you were telling me that it's better to do long runs in the dungeon. And so for me, I wasn't doing it like that because a lot of the times the woman that is kind of guiding you would be like, oh, you should probably head back, even if my health wasn't bad. But this was at the beginning, of course. So I thought I was supposed to do these like shorter runs where you're like, no, like get those like XP cards and then really go ham. And then you can have like a bunch of days to do other stuff to kind of build your skills and stuff. So I felt like I was doing it wrong. And you know me, whenever I feel like I'm doing a game wrong, I just want to start over at the beginning. I didn't. But I also loved later on. There was a time when she said that I was stronger than a lot of the enemies on the floor and that I should do auto fight. And I started implementing that. Not like every time, or like if I saw a certain enemy, I'm like, I know his weakness. I'm gonna just do a quick thing like that. But I actually like made it so much more fun because I just went through that for so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I liked that you could kind of just skip through things though, too, by pretty easily running past it. Because there got to be points where I'm like, I just need to go another floor or two. I don't really care about individually fighting these things. It wasn't like I was afraid of them. I just didn't want to waste time with the fight, so I would just run past them. But yeah, overall, I did like the fighting because I liked that. I'm sure you could turn it off as well and just let it be a thing, but the way that the assist was built into it, where it automatically told you, okay, this
Yeah.
character has an attack that will be the enemy is weak to, or what was the other thing that it told you? Or it would kind of highlight, it would let you hit the assist button and highlight the enemy that had a weakness or whatever. So like it gave that pretty nice guiding hand throughout it, and it made it. There were some of the early enemies I had a harder time differentiating because there was like two of the ones that were just like
They look very
floating puddles of
samey.
mud that looked the same, but you
Yeah.
had to, if you knew the difference in the name, then I remembered it and it was fine. But I kind of liked that, and then the all-out attack and all of that stuff.
Yeah, it took me forever to remember that you could do the right bumper for weakness and stuff, and then you told me about it again. I'm like, oh yeah, they did tell me that, and I forgot to do it because at that point I hadn't really been fighting. I didn't need it, so for me, like that's why it's like I feel like I needed a little bit more guidance, but I also realized that it's me, like I'm the problem.
So the combat, typical JRPG, like I said, it's turn-based RPG. As I said, everyone has their own type of persona, but you, being the special character, the main character, can have multiple different personas that you can swap as you battle. You're leveling up your character, getting new equipments. You have obviously health, magic. Magic is what you use in order to summon the persona. But yeah, one thing I love about this, I found the combat to be so quick and easy. So as we mentioned, there's different elements: fire, ice, lightning, light, dark, pierce, brute, blunt, and slashing. And if you can find a weakness on somebody, if you hit the weakness of the enemy, they get knocked down. Get them all knocked down, you do an all-out attack. Everyone jumps in, does massive damage. It usually ends the fight right there. I can usually finish, a fight within like a round or two. Very quick and easy. What difficulty did you guys play on? I played normal.
Yeah, it was a normal.
I did easy, but I felt like the combat, like
It looks very easy.
it was, and for me, but that wasn't my main thing with the game, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I felt like I could have gone higher, but it wouldn't have changed my enjoyment. It actually might have like brought it down because it was more interesting than the other stuff. I just wanted to get through the floors and loot the treasure chests. Like I didn't really care about the battles as much.
I enjoyed the battles, but it did get a bit repetitive. Like I said, repetition is going to be a lot in this game. You're seeing a lot of the same floors, hearing a lot of the same music.
But I
seeing a lot
expected
of the
it.
same areas.
So I feel like if there's a game that I expect the repetition, it doesn't bother me because
Yeah.
sometimes I actually find it very relaxing. And with this game, I thought it was very relaxing. All of a sudden, an hour went by, and I was like, "Thanks."
But yeah, the personas are kind of like a Pokemon kind of catching system. You can only carry so many on you. Depending on your level, eventually levels up, you can carry more personas. But as Liz said, you can get these personas and combine them, which is kind of a way of evolving them into a new type of persona. Combine a light and a dark one, and it kind of creates a mishmash character. I enjoy the persona system of collecting these characters, and it's just a fun collection mechanic that was just enjoying. Like I just had enjoyment doing. But the dungeons I thought were just fine. I thought it was fun.
Well, that's kind of my gripe is I wanted more from the dungeons. The game is focused on a lot of other elements, and that's fine, but that's one of the things of why I couldn't get into the gameplay. It was so heavily focused on the things that I didn't want to be focused on that I just couldn't get excited about any of the repetition because all of the repetition were things I didn't want to do for the most part. But with the fusion system, one of the things that I actually really liked the most was the what did they call it? The smart fusion.
Yeah.
Or where essentially it would just look at,
The
okay,
search.
here's your inventory of cards based on what you have. Here's the top 5 cards you can make, or I don't know, maybe it would eventually expand to even more than that. I think it was just that's what I was seeing or had availability to build, but it just gave you a selection. So if you were looking for a certain one to build or whatever it may be, you don't have to look through the list of them or remember what you need to build. It just tells you what's available. And I thought that was a pretty cool feature.
Yeah, and if you don't have the persona but caught it or saw it, you can actually just spend money and like buy it and resummon it in order to fuse it with another one.
Oh, I didn't realize you. Well, actually, I think I did realize you could do it. Does the cost go down if you've caught it or
No,
like,
no, it's about
picked
the
it up
same,
or
I think.
whatever? No,
No.
it's just.
Yeah.
Either way, I mean, it's definitely a nice thing that you can kind of fill it in because I think I feel like as you probably go, you can probably start to roll money pretty easily. Like I was pretty
money's
low.
very important in this game, though.
I was gonna ask you, Andrew, because you were at like 91,000, and where I'm at in the game, like I just need more money to like better equip people. So I mean, why do you still have 91,000? Is it like super expensive?
No, well, I just finished a boss. So usually, like I said, every month there's a full moon. You have to fight a boss, and then the game kind of progresses. Eventually, because there's a cap when you're going up on the floors in the Tartarus, the dungeon. Eventually, it stops you and says, "All right, you're gonna have to take a break." Eventually, it'll open up, and you basically have to beat a boss after a certain time, and then the floors expand. And every time the floor expands, obviously more game opens up. There's new personas you can get, new equipment you can buy. So I just finished a boss, so I have a bunch of money because I'm waiting to level up everyone and buy new equipment. But no, money's pretty hard to get. This is a thing that's kind of fun with this. So the dungeon, the Tartarus, is a very risk and reward of, you can keep going. If you keep going, like the rewards start to accumulate because they have the shuffle system. If you can finish a fight with an all-out attack, as I said, knock everyone down with a weakness and then do a knockout blow, there's this card system. A bunch of cards appear. Do you want extra XP? Do you want extra money? Do you want to heal your teammates? Do you want a new persona? This is how you collect the personas. Like there's these different cards you can get. And the more you're in a dungeon, the cards start to get a bit stronger. You get these. I don't want to get the full system because it's there's a lot of systems going on. But I love that this game is very much like, yeah, just keep staying in the dungeon. If you're good, actually, this is the first RPG I actually brought consumables, and I was actually using consumables because I'm like, I want to keep going. I don't want to leave. I have a good streak going right now. So I'm like, all right, people, here's some consumables. Keep going. But I found the dungeons to be pretty enjoyable because I love that shuffle system, that shuffle card system.
It took me a good couple of hours before I realized the difference in persona things that actually took HP.
Yeah.
I thought it was blue because it was like a
physical attacks cost HP and magic cost.
Yeah, no, I just didn't
magic.
look at the HP and the SP thing at the top right of it. I just saw the number and the color. And I'm like, it's probably just because it's a higher number. It's probably a better move, whatever it may be. Didn't even look at the letters there.
Did you like almost kill a couple of your people?
No, because it definitely doesn't let you do it.
Okay. I don't know. I never got that low. But I love this game. This game also too, like you have a lot of magic. Like I feel like a lot of RPGs I'm playing, it's like you can cast like 6 spells and it's like, now you got a mana. Hopefully you brought consumables. In this game, I'm like, it's very generous with how much mana you have.
I assume it's because you're intended to try and kind of just
stay in the dungeon. Yeah.
Your way through them. So it gives you the ability to get survivable pretty quickly. And
I was nervous too, because the only time you go to the dungeon, it's a thing called the dark hour. So I was like, crap, is this thing could it constantly be timed? Like, oh, you literally have 1 hour? No, that's what they call it, but the clock stops when you're in the dungeon. So you technically have unlimited time. So I'm glad about that because I was like, is this game going to be all about like time management? It's kind of not.
Well, that just made me think of the Velvet Room, and I mean, they make them seem like they're not on your team, but they're helping you.
Yeah.
Do you find out more about them? Was it
not
Igor
yet?
And Elizabeth?
Igor and Elise. Oh, it's Elizabeth.
Yeah. Wow, Keith. Pretty rude. But no, I haven't really learned too much about them. I know they're from like another planet or dimension because you kind of take Elizabeth out on dates and she's never seen anything in your world.
Oh.
Yeah. That's about all I know so
Wait,
far.
so you said you have different romance options?
Yep.
She's like, well, she's just one of the options.
I don't know if she's actually technically an option, but I know at least your party members are.
All of them?
That I actually don't know. I don't know if you can romance any of the guys.
Oh, I
Liz
meant like
wants to
all the
romance
girls.
Junpei.
No, I meant because I just felt like Mitsuru.
Oh, she is. She's an
Yeah,
option.
for some reason I just assumed that she wasn't.
No, she is. But probably should have Googled who is a romance option, but I didn't. Because also too, I know there's other characters and I want to spoil it, so I was like, yeah. And also, I'm partly lazy. Doing my homework for the episode, but it's. But anyway, but yeah, besides gameplay, I mean, there really isn't too much. We already kind of talked about how the day system works when you're at home and you're building up relationships. I wish there was a little bit more to that mechanic. It just, I don't know. It felt really repetitive of just like, you hung out with this guy. The end. All right, now it's that time.
You know, I really don't want to skip ahead on you, but I just have to ask Keith his thoughts on the music.
No, that's fine. Let's get out of next. But I mean, I have some thoughts on the music. But Keith, you mentioned it in the Discord. So Keith, tell everyone, how's the music in Persona 3?
I'm like 50-50 on music. There are parts where the music is great. It's like orchestral, or it's, just overall just some music, whatever. Like, I think when you go into the Velvet Room is one of those times. Very, very nice. At times it's fitting even. And points of the game where there's music, and I don't know why it exists there personally. Like, every time you go into Pawlonia Mall or any of these downtown areas, it's like Coalescence. No, not Evanescence. And Limp Bizkit had a baby.
You know that band, Coalescence.
Yeah, and it's called Coalescence, is what it's called. Limp Bizkit Evanescence had a baby. It's called Coalescence, and it doesn't make any sense. And it's wicked loud. It's repetitive. Holy moly. I don't care for it.
So for me, the music, just recently Microsoft had a partnership show, and Persona 3 was there, and they said, hey, the expansion pass. And I was like, okay. At this time we didn't play the game, so I'm like, all right, what's the expansion pass? Like, I'm assuming it's just DLC. And it's like, first wave is more music. And it's like, more music. I was like, that's really lame. But like, who's going to buy the expansion pass for that? Then I played Persona 3 and I went, man, I really wish I had more music. So thank God for that expansion pass. I'm the same way. The music is very repetitive. At first, I'm like, this music is a jam. Like, it fits really well. It goes well, but you are listening to that same song. And it's the same first 5 seconds of a song. Because when you're in school, it's this, upbeat poppy song with a female singer, and it works well. But it, like I said, you're only hearing for like the first 5 seconds. The one that I found the most annoying is when you're in your dorm room. It's this like really lazy rap song of this guy telling you to dance. I don't care. I'm just laying in my bed, minding my biz. Mind your own biz. He rhymes biz with biz, and then rhymes biz with is, and it's just like, okay, this is, and then follows up with hey. Like someone doing a really awful freestyling, but can't think of anything else to rhyme, so he just starts saying hey. As soon as I listen to those lyrics to that song, it always sticks out to me now.
I am curious.
And I'm like, I get so annoyed by that song.
Would it be better? Because I assume it would actually change. I don't know if you changed the like overall voice dialogue to, I assume it would be Japanese as the original. Is the music also dubbed in Japanese with similar, but probably better, and it's just bad translation into English?
I would assume no.
No, you think it's completely different music?
Possibly. I don't know. I didn't try.
I'm curious.
But
I didn't either.
I doubt it's changed. I don't know.
Either way, I didn't even think it was fitting at times though. It's just like you're in a casual social experience of just talking to someone before school, and it's this guy yelling at you in weird mumbly rap. but it's not rap and it's not very good. The music itself isn't all that bad. It's a little bit jazzy.
Yeah.
The
Honestly,
dialogue,
if the music didn't have lyrics, I actually would
I
have liked
think
it
that's
more.
probably it. I think if you ripped out the lyrics and the overall voice of the music, I wouldn't mind it as much because by golly, that was what was driving me nuts.
Yeah. It's same. Like, so the DLC too, unfortunately, it only adds music to the battlegrounds in the dungeon. So yeah, I have it random for that. But yeah, you can't really change the music for like the life scenarios, that's what's kind of getting on my nerves. It's just that really lazy rap song. I'm like, get me out of the door before the guy starts singing. It's like, get me out of here. I will say, like I said, this game is really easy to pick up and play, and for like cloud and for like, just playing on the go. This is an easy game too to just drop and maybe pick up within a month. You like the mechanics and everything in it is very easy to do. I think that's part of the issue is that we played this game too much in a short time. But even then, I don't know. I feel like at this point too, I'm already like 30 something hours in the game, and I'm like, all right, these
Thanks.
lyrics. Well, that's actually in game, but that's probably not accurate. I'm probably like 12 or 14 hours in, I think. I'm halfway. You're supposed to kill 12 bosses, and it said I've killed 6. But yeah, the music. I gotta say though, there's a lot of voice acting, and I actually like the voice acting. The voice acting brings a lot of personality to the characters. I know you're saying, Keith, that there's sometimes just noises, but I agree with the Discord. I feel like there's not as many times where it's just people grunting. The most of the time they do is when they're talking to your character, because obviously you're creating a custom name. Every once in a while they replace your name with leader. They call you leader because you're the leader of the group. But overall, though, I loved the voice acting. I thought the voice acting was really good.
Maybe it's a product of me and dialoguing characters and games and all of these things. The dialogue was fine. Like the voice acting was good. It's just the words they were saying were so empty and blech to me. Like I said, it's like every guy that like male character was just a flat like, ooh, what are the girls doing? Ooh, what are the girls doing? In what I experienced and seemed to, and now again, very surface level.
You tell me you weren't like that in high school, Keith?
Maybe, but there's a reason I don't want to go back and do a high school simulator. High school sucked. I didn't think high school was a great time. I want to go back and do that again. I should pull up some of your
old Facebook status posts from high school, Keith.
What's that?
I should pull up some of your old Facebook high school statuses.
Oh, I didn't have Facebook in high school. Thank you very much.
MySpace.
I got on Facebook when you had to have a college email address to get it. Thank you very much. I am that
so many
age.
Lyrics.
Oh yeah, no, but I wouldn't disagree. I was a terrible human being, but I don't want to go back and relive it.
You're terrible. You're just a high schooler.
Yeah, I don't like the person I was in high school. I don't want to go relive it. I just go back to that. I've said that multiple times.
I felt like one of the voice actors sounded like it's a famous voice actor. I don't know who it is, but he was an Archer. He was like the
Cyril.
Yeah.
I don't know what character you think that is, though, but
no, that wouldn't be because that's
is it Bill Parnell? I think his name is.
Maybe, I don't know. But it's still like some of the voice actors I didn't think really fit, especially for teenagers. Overall, I didn't dislike any of the voice act. I think they did a good job, but it just like didn't fit for me. But I mean,
well, I think that's part of like one of the things too, like that was weird and kind of annoying. Not annoying, but just didn't make sense is the voice acting. None of them felt like high schoolers. It was like a bad 90s sitcom where they're all 35 years old but playing 15-year-olds. Because even the little sprites they drew for them, if they just said that those characters were 28-year-old and this was like a business and you were infiltrating your corporate building was the Tartarus of a, like, okay, all of these characters still fit exactly as they are without any change to their voice or their overall look. It was just they didn't feel like high school characters.
Yeah. But then again, like, I mean, high school in Japan is way different than it is like in the United States, though. I think they're older usually in their grades. Because also, if you noticed, you mostly have school on Saturdays. Don't have that in the United States.
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. Like you said, I don't. There could be like cultural things that I'm missing with it, but
It makes me
I
think of
just-
Grease. You know, you watch it as an adult and you're like, those are not kids.
yeah,
That guy looks 40.
he's got gray hair.
Did you ever? There was a meme of. You remember the show Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
Yes.
There was one. There's a high school student, and the guy legitimately has a full-on bald spot on the back of his head.
No, I actually I
Yeah, I did
know a
I've
couple
had
people
bald
who
spots in
started
high school.
balding in high school.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I've known people who are balding. This guy had a full-on like monk bald spot. Like
No, yeah, I know.
it was all gone.
I knew two people. They didn't go to my school, but I met them afterwards and they were telling me about it. That they're bald when I met them. And they're like, yeah, I got a huge bald spot in high school and it just kept receding.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's actually a thing.
Well, when
That
Nick
poor
Cage sounded like a
actor
jerk.
probably really was.
No, because even too, he looked like he was 40 from the back of his head too. It wasn't just the bald
Holding the
spot.
beer.
Yeah, he had a beer. But yeah, so the voice acting is good. What's the other thing? Oh, graphics.
Well, the Tartarus is very samey, and most of the
It
places are very samey.
changes, but not much. So I'm
Overall, I
assuming-
liked the design and the look, though. The
Yeah.
colors, the art
It's
style.
simple.
I liked all of that. I just didn't think anything was graphically all that exciting
no
of the
It's-
environments.
It's simple, which makes it easy to loot and be efficient. Like it's easy to quickly explore the floor and know, like, oh, I need to search every nook and cranny because there might be a hidden thing around the corner. The things you're missing are very kind of minor. So for me, it's just I like how simple it is to make it efficient. I mean, I'm assuming you guys aren't in like once you get to floor like 25, it changes to like a purple mechanical looking area. I know Liz hasn't gotten there, and I'm sure Liz is farther than you, so I'm assuming
Yep.
you didn't get there.
15 was the highest I got to.
So I got into the 20s. I think I like
Yeah, you're
just
about there.
didn't. Yeah.
Because after you beat the first boss, which I know you're like right at the first like major boss.
Yeah, because I did floor 17 and I didn't have enough for the chest, and then I did at least 5 more floors.
Yeah. But like I said, I changed the layout and it hasn't changed for me since. And I'm about halfway. I've killed half of the bosses. So I'm like, is it going to change up again, please? Because I'm getting kind of sick of seeing the same areas. You're seeing the same classrooms, the same shops. Like I said, you're just visiting districts. You're not really free exploring. You're kind of just fast traveling these districts that are these small enclosed areas. So you are seeing a lot of the same areas. So graphically, this game's not that impressive. I will say I do enjoy the designs of the personas. This is what I mean of like, I didn't know if this game is trying to go for some sort of message, but like the personas are kind of all over the place. And that's what I thought. Cause like each persona is based off like a tarot card. You know, you have the Hanged Man, you have Death, you have the Fool, you have the Magician, you have the Tower, a bunch of different things, but they're based off persona, like the tarot cards. But it's not like they really kind of fit a theme. Like if you just showed me a persona, I couldn't be like, oh yeah, that looks like it's a magician or he's part of the Tower group. To me, they're just kind of all over the place. But at least
I mean,
kind of
maybe
cool.
if you knew tarot cards well, you would, I guess. But
Maybe.
otherwise, yeah, I thought the designs were cool of them.
Yeah, I like a little cat Shogun looking monster, and I was like, oh, this guy's
And,
adorable. I had a guy
one
in the
of those
Sandman.
Nekomata. She looked like Catwoman.
Yeah. I had a little guy with a moon fur face. I was like, oh, that guy looks like me.
What?
This is my big chin.
Self burn.
Oh, it's funny because we both have big chins.
I know. For the longest time, my friend Brittany always called me Crescent because she said my face looked like a crescent moon. Like, oh, thanks for that. That was in high school too. It's like, that's great for my self-esteem.
I immediately
when
thought
you
of
need people
crescent
pointing out
rolls.
Flaws.
Is it?
I immediately thought of crescent rolls when you said crescent.
Oh,
I mean, that might have worked
so
for
you said
Andrew
I
in
got
high
that
school
nickname 'cause
too, I
was
guess.
fat?
But
And rolls. Is that what you're saying?
I did not say that.
I mean, in high school, it might have worked a little for you, Andrew.
That's actually very true
Mhm.
too.
A little double meaning, I guess.
Well,
Either way, not the time for that type of joke. Maybe
high
whatever,
school
I
was
don't know.
rough for me, man. Oh,
You know, you had friends like me.
yeah. Well, we weren't friends really in high school. We just knew each other.
I was the nicest of your brother's friends to you, and there's no
You were.
denying that.
You were the one who giving me snacks and not helping me with my weight.
Well, there was that, because I was the only one who was like, I don't know, I just also want to play video games. So like, I'm just gonna come play video games with Andrew because I don't know, Aaron wanted to go do other stuff and I didn't want to do.
Yeah, we did play a lot of video games.
It's weird. We would not have, because we went to high schools near each other, but
Yeah.
if we went to the same high school, we would not have dated.
Oh, well, I didn't really date anyone in high school.
Me either.
Yeah, so that's probably why we wouldn't have dated in high school.
Checks out.
But I don't know.
I just meant personality wise.
You think you're that different of a personality?
I'm a completely different person than I was in high school. I don't even.
I don't know. You looked like a dweeb, and I was pretty dweeby too. We were both pretty dweeby people.
I saw old prom picture today. I was going through an old box and I was like, oh geez. I just want to throw it out, but it's like it felt weird throwing it out, you know? Oh, that was bad.
I mean, I've got rid of most of mine. I went to one prom, and the picture, I will say, it was hands down the worst picture I've ever taken in my entire life. It is so bad. I remember when my sister found it. She like literally just, I think she actually stole it, because I don't know what happened to that picture. I would not be surprised if she stole it. I need to ask her. It was so bad. It looked like I was having an allergic reaction. I got like stung by a bee. My eye was swollen, and there's no reason for it. I did not get stung by a bee. I don't know why I looked like my eye was swollen. It's such a bad
check in
picture.
with your sister on this one now.
I know. I because I actually mentioned it before, like a couple months ago, to somebody, and I was like, "What happened to that picture?" And if I find it, I'll put it up for our Discord.
I absolutely would not put up any
That was
pictures of me from school.
That one's for Patreon, Andrew.
That's you got to pay to see this picture. I mean, it would be worth paying. It's that bad of a picture.
It's either that or that's one of the Discord awards. You just get that picture on a shirt.
Ooh, I gotta remove I felt so bad for my date though. I didn't know that girl. It was kind of a blind date. It wasn't even my school's prom. Oh man, that's a story. But yeah, that was an awkward prom. But anyway, achievements. We should get back to the game. The achievements. I gotta say, it's actually a decent achievement on our game, because the achievements are very easy.
Andrew, you got a gaming score of 345 out of 1,000 with 23 out of 48 achievements. And Keith and I have the same amount. We have 60 gamer score, and we got the same 5 achievements.
Obviously,
I was going to say, Andrew just said they're easy to get, and then 30 hours into the game, and he's got 345.
Well, I was, before you interrupted me, say that caveat of, yes, it's not a quick achievement game, but all the achievements are very easy to get. The ones that are hidden are obviously beat that boss, beat that boss, beat that boss. So you don't really need to reveal any of the secret achievements. But besides that, the achievements that are visible are, max out social link, gain all the social links. They're all very easy. And as far as, unless you're being real bad at the game, I don't think any of them are really missable. Like, it's not like, oh, this one day you didn't hang out with this one dude, you lost that achievement, now you have to start a 60+ hour game all over again. So luckily none of that. So that's why I say it's at least easy. The achievements are easy to get. It just takes time.
Fine, but still don't call it good for achievement hunters.
Okay.
You put 60+ hours into a game to get 1,000 gamer score.
That picky.
I noticed the last couple episodes, you take something of mine and you fidget with it. It's only been the last couple episodes that you've been doing it, but today it's my pen. And I'm like, I feel like we need to get Andrew a fidget spinner.
Oh, probably. I always like, especially now that I'm on camera, I'm like, I need to use something in my hands.
Well, this is the first week that we're sitting right next to each other, but last week you did it too. You took something of mine. I forget what it was.
No, I usually play with like nail clippers or something else on my desk that I have.
Yeah, we do that too.
Yeah. But anyway.
You can still do it. I wasn't shaming you. You can fidget with my pen.
Let's get to our final thoughts.
Please shame him.
Keith, I'm gonna have you go first. Come on, say why this game was a pass for you.
So I think that Persona 3 is this a remake or something? Is that where the reload comes in, or is this just?
Yeah, this was originally if my memory serves me correct, this was only a PSP game. Okay. So most of these Persona games, I think, obviously none were on Xbox. They were on Nintendo or PlayStation. So that's why this has been a really big deal that Personas have now been coming out, and they've been on Game Pass.
Yeah. Okay. Well, either way, it's an RPG. I think if it was just, I don't know, I guess focused more on being a battle RPG, I think I could have gotten more on board with it. But to me, it just feels like a relationship management simulator with some battle aspects built into it. And I don't know if I wanted
say
to
it like
do
that's a
that. What was
negative
that
thing.
game? Boyfriend Simulator that was on Game Pass. At least it was a roguelike. Maybe I'd go play that. Probably too harsh, but I didn't find enough of the things that I enjoyed about the game that I was doing enough. And even all of the things I didn't like doing, they weren't long. It was just a like Andrew had said, jump here, jump there, jump there. It was all just very directed and on rails. And I just didn't feel like there was a lot going on that really hooked me into apparently these riveting characters that I just found boring as all get up. So yeah, I think I'd like to do more of the battling. I thought that eat different battle types of ways you could weaken and stun and all these things, and put more depth into that, make it more focused on that, and I probably would have a lot more fun with it. And I think that, even we really kind of glossed over what could have been a really cool feature of it is this could have been a lot of a capture, like a monster capture type of RPG. And it's just like it's kind of a neat aspect.
And would you capture them by shooting your gun at them?
Yeah.
I mean, that would actually explain the gun a little bit more. Of you shoot them to capture in a bullet, and then you shoot it through your head in order to summon it or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I didn't even really talk about that. I didn't care for that sequence. So, I wouldn't tell somebody not to play it if they were asking me about it. I'd try to get a little more idea of what they're into and maybe get them do it or away from it. But it's not that I have anything against it or I hated it. It was not for me. And so that's why it's a pass. I give it an 80. No, I'm gonna do 79. Cause that music, gosh, that music.
What about the music, Keith?
And overall, not bad. But the music that I couldn't stand, boy, I couldn't stand it.
So for me, everything Keith said, just the opposite. That's my review. No. So as I said, to me, this is a very good, JRPG that you don't need to sit down and focus. If you want to, you can. I think for me, that was kind of grating on me. As we've mentioned in this podcast, to me, repetition can get on my nerves, especially audio repetition. Boy, does this game have it. I enjoyed the music at first. When I first listened to it, I'm like, this song hits it. It's great. But I'm already 20 hours or ish so in the game, and I'm like, I am sick of this song. If I could have just turned the lyrics off, it'd be great. But I don't want to turn the sound off because I enjoyed the voice acting. So it's like, well, I'm kind of in a rough spot here. So I guess I gotta listen to this music. But I loved how simple the game kind of is. At first, I was like, a lot. Our Discord was talking about, they're like, oh, you need to play 5 hours to kind of first get into this game. And at first I was like, that can't be accurate. No, you do not fight your first battle until about an hour or 20 minutes in the game, which took a very long time to get into. But once the game starts going, that's the thing. I forgot to mention this. I started to scream at the game a little bit where I'm just like, I want to, the game I felt like was putting me on a leash, and I just want to be let off the leash. Let me explore the world. Let me start doing things.
Thank you for agreeing with me.
But that's also very typical for a JRPG. That's not that surprising. But once the game started to let me do it, I was having a lot of fun. I thought the combat system is very simple. Everything about this game is very simple, which is surprising because, like I said, there's a lot of mechanics in this game that it's teaching you and going over. It's giving you a quick text of, hey, let's explain this system. Okay, bye. Text gone. Hope you read it. Hope you remember it. There you go. But once you start playing, it's like, yeah, there really isn't too much going on that you really figure these things out. I think it's great for xCloud. Like I said, touch controls worked very well. I was able to quickly pick it up, play a little bit, save, put it down, and it worked great that way. The overall story didn't care for as much. It's starting to get a little interesting after, like I said, 20 hours. But I like the characters. I thought the characters were great. But for me, I'm going to give it an 85. I like I said, I can't fully recommend this to everyone. Like as Key said, which I think is accurate, he says a negative. This game felt more like a romance life RPG with some battling in it. I felt like the battling was kind of more something a little bit on the side, but I thought it flowed well.
I just have to point out one thing you said with music is that it fits that right away. One of the first times you run into the music, you're getting off the train to Puddles of Blood and Coffins, and it's this weird rap song. It does not hit at all.
I don't remember that.
It's doing that music when you're walking around the train station in Coffins and Blood. And that was my first experience going, what the heck is this music doing? Because this makes no sense right now. It is so out of left field. It's like Cassette Beasts, where the first time you wake up at that bed and it's a super serious like end roll credits type of song with the heavy level of lyrics. I'm like, I'm expecting something intense to be happening. Like, I'm going to get a pop-up battle within the first 5 minutes because there's this intense, crazy music. No, you're just walking around in Coffins and Blood. And then there's weird, creepy ghost boy. You're like, D's nuts. And then you carry on. And the game it did not make sense to me. It did not at all make any sense.
So for me, it almost hit a 90. I kind of talked myself down to an 89. I wanted more of everything. Like I actually really like a lot of things that the game offers. It's just
more Junpei.
Yeah, I'm more character development because I like the characters. More story because I thought the story was interesting, but it's very slow getting into it. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like obviously I didn't put enough hours into it to know the full story, but I wanted them to like feed me a little bit more to keep me going. Same with like I like the combat. But it's like I would like to see more like floors like that look different, more enemies. So just me being greedy. I think too with wanting to do actual like more things, it kind of felt choppy, the way that they set it up where it's just like, oh, you hung out with them. Next segment. Oh, it's time to go to bed. So it felt very, very, very choppy, and I wish it was more fluid. But I don't really, fault the game for that. It's just like the way that they designed it, and it works. I just being greedy. And looking at Metacritic for Series X, 87 and 9.1, and then Xbox One, TBD, and 8.1. So pretty high.
The gun mechanic still just blows my mind. Sorry for phrasing I shoot that. I didn't mean that. But like I still like anytime I'm thinking about this game and I'm like the way like they literally kind of done any other way to summon the personas.
They could have easily made it 10% less and just been like, hey, start of battle. You do it one time and the personas are unleashed, and then you just Pokemon style like go do that thing, or make it or you could cut it to like 1% of it and it's activated the very first time like you kind of find out that character is able to do the thing, and then it just summons in battle because they've unlocked it with the weird gun mechanic in the first place. It was just I
just hate term I don't like,
but it like fits is it like Javier in the Discord used the term cringe lord, and I'm like, like it's like somebody was like, oh, this is so dark and brooding. Oh, so you shoot yourself in the head, and they just and they just wanted you to just relive it over and like, no, man, we're really edgy. We're edgy with this, and I could be so wrong about it.
I don't know. This game came out in 2007.
It just felt like they just wanted you to feel like it was. I don't know. I didn't care for it, and it really put me off from the like. As much as there was points, right? It didn't bother me every time. Every time it would like kind of register with me. I'm like, I don't like this.
I just like I said, I just hate that they don't explain it. Like I thought for sure it was at least going to be some sort of like metaphor, Because like even to at one point you meet
Exactly,
this
even that.
character who gets bullied and they're afraid like she's gonna kill herself. And so you find her to save her because she got lost in Tartarus. And one of your characters is just like, here, have this, and gives her a gun. And it's like, this makes no sense. Like, I don't get why the game did this and like not explain it. And we've had people in our Discord beat the game, and I'm like, do they ever explain the gun? He's like, no, not really. It's like, why did they do this?
I think it would turn a lot of people away from the game too.
I don't blame them. Like,
Yeah.
it's a
I'm
cringy
surprised
thing.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, with those scores, and that's where I would think that they would give you some, even if it was, and man, I feel like with that type of mechanic to go 60 hours to then be like, oh, and here's why we do this.
Yeah.
That's way too long. But at least if they did that at the end of the 60 hours, like, well, that's a lot. But okay, there's a reason. Or here's 5 different reasons, and you can interpret your own reason, or depending on the ending is the reason. Like, nah, otherwise it's just such a weird, empty thing that I hate so much.
I know. Sorry, I brought this back up again. It was just like once Liz was kind of talking about it, I'm just like, it just popped back in my head.
It's so bizarre.
Weird.
It's weird that you just like get used to it.
Yeah.
It's so
I thought for sure you were going to summon him with the MP3 player because I felt like there was so much emphasis on the MP3 player on your main character. No,
they do talk a lot about the music, or at least people do talk a lot about the music in this, and I don't know. Yeah,
anyway.
I don't know. I especially now, like I don't know when they finally released this on Xbox, but I'm almost surprised that they didn't have a way to be like, hey, you can turn this part with animations or something. I just
have people do finger guns instead or something.
No, just don't have it.
Yeah.
And you just be like, they just do the attack, or I don't know. There's a lot of things just do skip animations in general, and you just hit the button and then numbers pop up, and it's a way of speeding up games usually, like turn-based RPGs.
Since this is the Xbox release of it, they added the grunt birthday party. So every time your character did the grunt birthday party. Oh no, that'd actually be way darker.
Yeah,
I heard of that. Anyway, let's wrap it up here.
Yeah, now we're going dark.
I know, but the whole thing is dark. Anyway,
yeah.
If you have any game suggestions, go to GamePassGrabBag.com. Brings you to our link tree. I also need to start adding our link tree to the show notes. But yeah, please tell us any games you want us to come visit. Also join our Discord. Our Discord's a lot of fun. We love interacting with our listeners there. Giving away stickers there as well. I don't know. Check out our Patreon. We have some episodes there. I don't know. I'm going to wrap it up here. Anyway, I've been Hardcore Gamer Sage. You can find me next Xbox Live, Firebirds0152.
I've been Keith.
Yeah, you got to review all our Discord listeners.
It's at least like Squid, Clarence, Javier. Am I missing anyone? Camo Frog?
Yep.
Camo in this one too?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry if you are. No, I'll still stick with a 90, but you're all getting 90s this week. So I did not like it.
Liz looks like you're ready to fall asleep.
No, I had a coffee. I stopped drinking coffee at 4. I'm gonna be up all night. My brain won't shut off. I'm just physically getting tired.
Is this running Overwatch with us tonight, Andrew?
I probably could stay up as late as you guys did. I mean, I'm not going to, but and I'm listening.
Me and Max, I'm like, oh, that sounds awesome. I'm not going to do it, but it sounds awesome.
And I'm LizNoob Gamertag. I'm Dean. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at LizNoob NoobBasyW.
All right, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. We love you all. We'll see you again next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.